Talking about crime statistics, there was a report that was in some, I'll say, media accounts that was an email, it was a department email that identified and was misattributed was an 80% error rate in our aggravated assault. As Commissioner Johnson indicated, the department has been.
This is Michael Moore speaking.
Working, stridently in assigning resources, conducting inspections, and working with the Inspector General's office, as well as with an LA Times report that initially brought this to the department's attention, to identify and ensure that our processes are accurate, that as we go about classifying crimes and classifying reports, that we do so with the eye that the resulting efforts earn the public's trust, and we're very mindful of that. Under Chief Beck's leadership, substantial personnel resources as well as systems have been put in place, and they're within the Racer Division, but they're also spread across the 4 geographic bureaus, and regular and ongoing persistent inspections are occurring. As part of that effort, about a month and a half ago, 6 or 8 weeks ago, and I believe these results were brought to the attention of Mr. Defense, the department used a new algorithm. It was one that had not been used in the past, and looked and discovered about 1,700 records out of 71,000, more than 71,000 records, that when we looked at those records, it looked like it's possible that they had been misclassified as a simple assault versus an aggravated assault. The error rate at that analysis was about 2% of the records. We immediately began pulling those records, and in the process today of inspecting each one, and as necessary, reclassifying. What we're finding in various parts of the city is some of those records are misclassified and should be aggravated assaults. A number of instances, including a report that was just forwarded to me this morning, indicated that more than half of those records that we initially thought were misidentified were in fact identified correctly as a Part 2 crime. At the end of the day, what we have here is an ongoing effort by the organization to identify and ensure that our classification of crime reports are accurate. I want to bring to the Commission's
So the city attorney is talking with Matt Johnson, the police commission president now.
Decisions each year in determining what is the appropriate crime classification, that we have errors. Our error rates, we believe, are in single digits, and we know that those error rates are improving because, meaning that they're lowering towards the goal of 0, in part because of the training, ongoing inspections, and reinforcement of corrective action for those of our people who make mistakes. But let me tie in that what is critical to our success is in part of today's budget, which includes a $4 million request for the replacement of our legacy record management system. Because as a department, we make more than 300,000 classifications each year between crime and non-crime reports. And today, we use a legacy system that requires a paper-based description of what occurred and the officer to choose the appropriate classification. And that is at 3 in the afternoon, that is at 3 in the morning, that is following a hectic schedule of work, and we make mistakes, and we make mistakes. We are making every effort to best utilize our legacy system, but in the end, the support of by this commission and by the mayor's office and by the city to replace that system is another step toward achieving a 0.
But even more than that, the problem occurs here is because we're trying to translate California penal codes, which we're right almost 100% of the time, into the mythical crime system that the FBI developed in 1932 to make all crimes across all states reportable in the same system. And that system is old, it's antiquated, it is recognized by every police department that does this as being very difficult. You know, the instructions for classifying simple assaults and aggravated assaults are 20 to 30 pages long alone. And so it's very difficult. It's a difficult system to use. So the real goal is by the FBI and by us and by other major city chiefs is to switch to a national information-based reporting system, which will be much more accurate, and which will which is part of the reason we got that federal funding for the records management system, is because we are seen as the leader in doing this. And so that federal funding that allowed us to begin the management system came because of that.
The two other points I would add, if I could, one aspect of this is
Briefly,
this-
because we're
so briefly,
treading, we're treading on that.
So briefly, the
Don't worry about it.
organization found this, and the organization immediately launched into an added inspections to ensure the records for 15-16 were correct. Secondly, and lastly, the impact of this has no bearing on what crimes are investigated. Meaning that a larceny, which is a Part 1 crime, I'm sorry, so it doesn't bear on what
So I
investigated
just
efforts we
answering
take.
my question,
Yes.
right? Okay, thank you. Because first, in asking the question, I brought with it absolutely no critique of the department. So I simply was interested in when the review and the ultimate final determination of these 1,700 records might be completed. I appreciate the context. And just want to say that, like many members of the public, I'm not intimately involved in every single aspect of department operations, so it's helpful to simply, questions come up.
Yeah.
And so on this one issue, without reference to whether this was intentional or, unimaginable, I mean,
Sure.
certainly I've given the number of records and all the human contact involved, errors occur. So the question is simply, as it relates to the things that have been identified internally and frankly that have become public regarding a certain discrete number of errors, when will the process that you're undergoing, do you anticipate, when will that process be complete?
By the-
And we report it out.
By the end of the year, we have 2 of the 4 geographic bureaus done as of this morning. The next 2 bureaus will be done, we fully expect that this will be done by the end of the year. My apologies, I was attempting to address the broader conversations of both the citizens, the community members remark. I took no criticism by inference of your question at all.
Okay, thank you for that, and, I would simply say that this does go back to, the previous comment regarding technology and processing and the interconnection between all of these things as it relates to our ability to deliver, on the promise and the expectation of citizens. So, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm leaving, but we understand the 1,700 may be a sample and that the problem probably is bigger than the information we have.
I put in a card.
We have 2 more cards. We have
for comment
Wayne
on
from
item
Mendocino
two, on his
and
issue.
Caillou.